What's up, everybody? It's Space Jill Aaron here again, and I'm back again with my horrible, awful monster face. And we're here to film another video, and today I finally decided to just do whatever the fuck I want, because I don't fucking care. Now, sure, doing a review for Fire Punch was a bad idea, because Fire Punch apparently has a lot of really angry, really kind of mean fans who will tell you you're not manly enough for liking their favorite manga. So we're gonna wheel it back a little, and we're gonna talk about a manga that nobody else has ever read, because as far as I know, I'm the only person who fucking has it. Because nobody fucking cares, and that's Yubisaki Milk Tea. And you can see here on the cover, you got this tasteful side boob of a character who you later find out is a middle schooler. That's the kind of manga we're dealing with today. Y'all already know my feelings about Yubisaki Milk Tea. I've talked about them before and how I hate this manga. This manga came out in 2006. I've had this manga for over 10 years and I still fucking hate it, which just goes to show that sometimes you will have a manga in your collection you absolutely despise, but you just hold on to it because you hate yourself and you like to suffer. And I'm going to bring you along on this journey with me so you all can suffer too. So, let's just get right on into it. Let's just talk about Yubisaki Milk Tea point by point. And we're going to start with the epilogue, which is just its own, not epilogue, prologue. I know how that shit works. Anyway, and we're going to start with the prologue, which is only like 2 pages, but still, we start off with the two of like the 3 main characters. We got, Nori-kun, whose name I actually do not remember. Let me just flip through this manga really quick, because Yoshinori, his name is Yoshinori, and his childhood friend Hidari, and they're small children in the prologue, and they're taking a bath together, because, you know, that's what you do with your childhood friends, y'all take baths together and shit, and she's talking about how, like, oh, I want to be a bride when I grow up, I want to be a beautiful bride, and dude fucking stands up out of the tub, he's like, fuck you, Hidari, I'm gonna be the best bride, fuck you. And in this manga, with the scantily clad, preteen showing off that tasteful side boob, the first thing you see in this manga is not a tit. The first thing you see is small little boy penis. So, that's what we're dealing with in Yubisaki Milk Tea. The first piece of fan service you get is small little boy penis. Anyway, so we go into the first chapter. Don't mind if I just look down at the manga the whole time, because I have a horrible fucking memory. But we meet Yoshinori, who, after an incident with his sister, kind of flaking out on a photo shoot with this photographer she worked with, the photographer instead enlists Yoshinori to dress up as a bride and take a picture, and he just awakens as this cross-dresser, not as a trans woman, just as a cross-dresser. He just fucking loves dresses and shit after this point, because he just likes to feel beautiful. He just likes all that shit. But we're pretty much just introduced to the fact that this guy really likes to cross-dress. That's his passion. That's what he likes to do, and it was completely on accident. And it was because he was enlisted by this other photographer who's all like, well, your sister isn't available to take these wedding dress pictures. How about you, little boy? Would you like to take some wedding dress pictures for me and pose as a girl? And yeah, that's how that fucking started. Anyway, so we cut back to Yoshinori, and he's back at home, and Hidari comes over, because she's coming over to, she's coming over to get help with her homework, and shit ensues, and she takes a strawberry off his cake, because they're having cake, and then this scene happens, where he's all like, please give me your strawberry, and she's like, they're titties! That's how that shit goes. And then later on, he finally goes out into the wild in his cross-dress, and he kind of like wanders around town, and he happens upon Hidari, who is playing soccer with like the local little boys of the neighborhood, and she like falls over and she like scratches her knee. She's like, oh, it's alright, it's okay, just a scratch. And he's like, no, you're beautiful, you can't hurt your beautiful knees. And he runs over and he forgets that he's in a cross-dress, and he like tries to like help her wash off her knee, and she's like, who the fuck are you? And he's all like, oh fuck. So at this point he introduces himself to her as Yuki, and thus begins his weird double life, where he knows her as his childhood friend, and she knows him as like this mysterious older woman named Yuki, who helped her clean a wound on her knee once. And that's how that starts. That's how that goes. And then we get this really tasteful scene of him, she's asleep on his bed, and he, like, I don't know, he pulls up her fucking underwear, and she's just all like, because, let me show you, oh, there it is, there's that fucking scene, right there, where he's all like, oh shit, that's a vagina, and she's just all like, you pervert, Nori-kun. And then we're introduced to the other half of the awful fucking love triangle that makes a Yubisaki milk tea, whose name I totally fucking forget. What is her name? Minamo Kurosawa. Okay, her name is Minamo. We're gonna call her Minamo from now on. And how we're introduced to her, the first image that we see of her is this tasteful thing, this tasteful panty shot beauty right there. That's the first thing we get to see of her, is her posed scantily, panties showing. Fuck. We don't care about women in this manga. And him and his friend are talking about all, like, the cute girls that are in their class. And pay attention to this girl in the corner. She's a tool that we'll use for later. Trust me. She shows up again 8 volumes from now, randomly. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. So Yoshinori's like, I really like Minamo, and Guy's just like, Minamo's like a fucking nerd who doesn't talk to anybody. Why do you like her? And he's like, she's hot. And he goes to, like, try and initiate conversation with her. But and this goes on, like, a very, like, long ongoing theme where I'm pretty sure everybody in this manga is an alien. Because in order to, like, get her attention and talk to her, the first thing he does, he's like, hey, can I have some pencil lead? And she's like, yeah, sure, have some fucking pencil lead, leave me alone. And then he's all like, here, have some candy, in exchange for the pencil lead. And she's like, no, fuck you, I hate candy. And then he takes her fucking textbook, and he's like, fucking talk to me. And then they touch hands, and she freaks out. And that's their first interaction. And then he's all like, alright, well, that didn't fucking work at all, that was a bust. But then he's like, alright, so what if I approach her in drag? What if I approach her in cross-dress and pose as Yuki and try to talk to her? So he does so. I don't know where the fuck he got, like, a girl's uniform. I don't know where the fuck he got that. It's never explained where he got it, but he got it. Maybe he stole it from someone? I don't know. So he approaches her, and he's like, I want to talk to you, as like, you know, as a girl. And he pulls her aside. And then she immediately finds out that he's a boy. And he's like, how'd you figure it out? And she's just all like, bitch, women's butts aren't shaped like that. And she goes and she grabs his ass to demonstrate a point. And then she's all like, alright, well, if you want to start talking to me, you're only going to be able to talk to me in cross-dress, and I'm going to call you Catherine. Don't know fucking why. But then he's all like, well, you grab my ass, that's kind of rude. And she's like, oh, well, in exchange, you can grab my titties. And he does so, because she gave him permission, and she starts to cry, and she just, like, starts freaking out that he grabbed her boob, even though she was all like, you can grab my boobs if you want. And at this point, he, like, feels like something for her, because he grabbed her titty, and she cried. This is where the epic romance of these two begins, is he grabs her titty and she sobs a little. And then he finds out that she's become Hidari's tutor. And hijinks ensue because she's Hidari's tutor, and he likes her, but he also likes Hidari. And then he approaches her after school, has to do it in cross-dress because she will not speak to him if he's dressed as a dude. And he's like, alright, so I get that you're, Hidari's tutor now. I would like you to not be Hidari's tutor because you have a shitty attitude. And I don't want Hidari to act like you, even though I'm crushing on you because I grabbed your titty and you cried. And she's all like, fuck you, dude, I'm gonna tutor her if I want. And then I guess they, like, get together to, like, tutor some more, and Hidari, I suppose, has gotten the wrong idea about Yoshinori and Minamo, and she flips out, and she runs out of the house, and instead of just running after her, he's all like, I know what to do. I'm going to dress and drag again. I'm going to put on my girl makeup, and I'm going to run after her that way, and I'm just going to conveniently run into her at the park at night as Yuki. And he does so. And she admits to her, as to Yuki that she likes Yoshinori. Like, that wasn't fucking obvious the whole fucking goddamn time, but he acts like it's a goddamn surprise. And then shit happens. Manama's grading papers. They're arguing, and then this is the best. This is the fucking best. This is the first kiss scene, and the first kiss scene is the absolute fucking tits. They're arguing. I don't know what the fuck about, and I could honestly care the fuck less. And he grabs her by the wrists, and he shoves her up against a wall. Oh, I guess he's trying to, like, make her see that he likes her. He's in drag, by the way, again. I feel like I should mention whether or not he's in his Yuki costume. But he is in the Yuki costume. And he's all like, I love you, damn it. Why won't you believe me? He's got her pinned against a fucking wall, and he's like, I love you. And then she's all like, you have Hidari, you don't need me. And honestly, we could have ended things there. He could have been all like, yeah, you know what, you got a point, I like Hidari. And he could have let her go, and he could have backed off, and we wouldn't have to have suffered through 10 volumes of awful. But nah, instead he's all like, that's not it. I don't like Hidari that way. And she's all like, if you don't let me go, I'm gonna fucking scream. And he's all like, well, then I'll fucking cover your mouth, bitch. And kisses her to silence her, which, you know, is the best way to woo a woman, is to force yourself upon her so that she does not scream. And back when she told her to grab her tits, and he grabbed her tits, and she cries again. And I mean, of course you'd cry if somebody forced herself upon you, but, you know, whatever. We have a scene with Hidari. You see Hidari's nipples. I'm not going to show you that, but trust me, you get to see some, little teenage nipples. Great shit. Good stuff. And then he takes her out on a date, because at this point he's being mopey, because he's afraid that Manamo doesn't like him anymore, because he forced himself on her, which he rightfully should, god damn it. And so him and Hidari go on a date. He's like pitying himself by taking his childhood friend on a date, and he buys her a dress. And she tells him to his face, not as Yuki, but to his face, that she loves him. And he and she runs off. She's like, I love you, and then she runs off, and he does not follow her. Why does he never follow Hidari when she runs away? It's a constant theme, is Hidari will, like, leave. She'll get mad at him, shout at him, and leave, and he'll just kind of stand there moping like a motherfuck. And instead he goes to the studio where he works, and he dresses in drag and takes pictures of himself crying. And he, like, mopes around in angst just for a little bit. And then there's a scene where his sister, where we get to see some really interesting shit with the sister later on. There's a very big incest element. This manga tries to go for every fetish, and there's, like, multiple incestuous elements in here, and she's one of them. Like, she makes out with him multiple times. It's implied that it's something they do on the reg, and people think they're actually, like, in love with each other. But anyway, she wakes up and she's like, where the fuck are all my clothes? All my clothes are fucking gone. Where the fuck are all my clothes? Where the fuck are all my clothes? And she goes into Yoshinori's dream, like, Yoshinori, where the fuck are my clothes? And there he is, early in the morning, dressed up like a girl, and she's like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. And she, like, tries to leave, and then she's all like, wait the fuck a second, and then she goes back in, and she's like, Yoshinori, what the fuck? You're wearing my clothes, and why are you doing this? And he's like, it's because the guy who works at the photo studio I'm an employee at told me I looked pretty. And then she kisses him. She's all like, you're a fucking idiot, and she kisses him, and he's all like, you're my fucking sister, and she's just all like, it probably cheered you up, huh? And he thanks her for kissing him. And then we cut to school, and Manamo is nowhere to be found. She is missing. It's test day, and she's nowhere to be found. The nerd is not at school on test day. Something is wrong. The nerd is not here. And she comes, like, in, like, an hour late, and she's, like, dolled herself up. She's taken off her glasses. She's suddenly very beautiful, because she's taken off her glasses, and she's done her hair. and everyone is a fucking surprised that she's beautiful without her glasses, which is the dumbest fucking trope in all of history. I take off my glasses and I start to panic because I can't fucking see. I'm not beautiful. I'm scared. And then she's all like, well, I'm beautiful now, even though the last time we interacted, you scared the shit out of me because you forced yourself on me. Yeah, she, like, offers her his hand. She offers him her hand, and she's all like, I fucking love you. Take my hand. Take me. Which is a beautiful scene on its own, if you didn't know what occurred before. And then he's all like, nah, man. He remembers Hidari, and he's all like, nah. You gotta protect yourself. And she's just like, that's okay, whatever, sure. Again, we could have ended shit here. But we didn't. Because we like to suffer here in Yubisaki milk tea. And then we cut to the house again. And Yoshinori has discovered that just now, just right this fucking second, on this day, his voice is finally starting to change. He's starting to go through puberty. Right the fuck now, boys. And he starts to panic because his voice is changing. And if his voice changes, he can't go out in his cross-dress and talk like a woman because his voice is too low. And then there's this really fucking dumb scene where he's like, sis, my voice is changing. And she's like, aw, sweet bro, you're going through puberty. Is that an Adam's apple? Oh shit, that shit's turning me on. Like, that's literally what happens. I might get turned on. Cool, an Adam's apple on my brother. So hot. I'm not kidding you. That shit's literally happening right now. And then I guess despite the fact that she's really into her brother, she's more into the idea of him marrying Hidari for reasons that are explained later, but not now. But right now, all you know is that she's obsessed with her brother dating their neighbor. And he's like, I've fallen for another girl, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass, you idiot. I ship you and Hidari. You cannot sink that ship, bitch. And then we cut to Hidari because Hidari's all like fucking like concernicus because Manamo is suddenly very beautiful, and she's all like, she puts two and two together immediately, like, oh, it's because she likes Nori-kun. This is bad. This is real bad. So she invites herself over to Yoshinori's house, and she just cries there. She, like, attempts to seduce him with the Pocky. You know how they do. They put it in their mouth, and it's all like, you start at that end, bitch, and we'll kiss. But then he's all like, fuck you, Hidari. Why are you here? Go home. And she's just all like, starts to cry because she loves him. And then he's all like, shit, what do I do? And the only way to de-escalate the situation is that he leaves the room and he comes back in cross-dress. And he's like, surprise, bitch, I'm Yuki. And she's just like, oh my god, I already told you I loved you then because I told Yuki that I love you. This makes everything okay then. And then they have, like, a romantic moment, and then he talks to Manamo after school. He's like, hey, I need to tell you something. Not right now, though, but later. And so they meet after school, and then he's all like, hey, I can't keep meeting you like this, because, I'm starting to look and sound more like a dude. I can't keep cross-dressing for you so we can talk. I cannot speak to you anymore. I have Hidari. And she's just all, she's just like, that's not fucking fair. I'm getting dumped, that's fucking awful. And then he chooses Hidari, and then they have, like, a moment where they're just playing, like, rock, paper, scissors by a shrine. Don't know what the fuck that's about, but they're doing it. And it ends with, like, my love for you will go on, won't it? Now and forever. At least until Volume 2, when we decide to change our goddamn fucking mind. The rest of the manga is side stories that don't really mean anything to the story. But yeah, that's Yubisaki Milk Tea Volume 1. And in all honesty, this is probably the better of the whole series. This is all very self-contained. It could have ended at Volume 1. This could have been just a one-shot. It would have been fucking weird because it had all those, like, weird elements where people don't act like actual people. They act kind of like aliens. But it would have been fine. But no, we got 9 more volumes to suffer through in Yubisaki Milk Tea. And I hope to see you all there when we start to look into Volume 2 of Yubisaki Milk Tea. I want to kill Yoshinari, he's an asshole.